Greetings, everyone. My name is Matej Kandrík, and I am director of Alebo Institute, security and defense-oriented think tank from Slovakia. I welcome you to listening of next new episode of our Alebo Atlantic podcast. Today, we are going to dwell into topic much present in the news, and that's AI, generated disinformation, how it tackle, and how to understand this new phenomena. Today, I'm proud to speak with two good experts. First, and the author of the paper, which can be found on our website, dedicated to this topic, is Jerguš Lajoš, our junior analytic at Alebo Institute, and Tomáš Kriššák, my very good friend from Gerulata Technologies, where he works as a senior Stratcom officer. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you very much.
So, Jerguš, as author of the paper, please introduce us to basic ideas of your paper and how you see this phenomena of AI-generated disinformation.
Okay, thank you for introducing me and having me over in this podcast. I would like to start maybe a bit broadly. And first of all, I would like to briefly describe what is disinformation, which is more or less the thing that we will speak about very often in our podcast in connection with my work. So disinformation more or less is purposely created, distorted, or incorrect piece of information with the aim to mislead or in some way influence perceiving of recipient, the creator of disinformation, which is often its spreader, knows the fact that the information is incorrect, and he still consciously spreads it and tries to do harm, tries to influence the recipient, even though we may perceive it as a very recent phenomenon. These informations were present in human society for ages, for decades or centuries. Simply said, for very long time period. But nowadays we live in the the age of information, which simply means we get in touch with hundreds of them on daily basis, and therefore it is easier for actors to manipulate with information. And also technological advance helps with the spread of information. Especially thanks to digital platforms, and more recently thanks to development of artificial intelligence technology. The reach and also the impact is furthermore amplified, let's say. Speaking about artificial intelligence, AI, it's for sure it is beneficial tool, beneficial technology. But what I want to speak and what my work is about, my paper is about, is, let's say, the other side of the coin, which represents the danger caused by use of AI for manipulation with information. Artificial intelligence has made creation, amplification, and dissemination of this information possible in more efficient and widespread way. These disinformation campaigns, or the campaigns that consist disinformation created by AI, operate on unprecedented scale, also on the very high speed and high level of sophistication. they generate highly convincing false information, misinformation, and which targets specific users with specifically tailored content. And they can also undermine democratic processes as well as erode institutional trust, for example, as trust in government. And disinformation campaigns can also cause chaos in society. It can divide society into two sides, like left and right. And such campaigns of AI disinformations include automated content generation, deep fakes, also manipulation of social media algorithms, and many more. Each of them presents very unique challenge for detection and also for mitigation. And even though we live in, as I mentioned, in the era of technological boom, conventional methods that we know nowadays, that we use nowadays to detect and counter such disinformation, such campaigns, seem to be inadequate when facing such a volume and complexity of AI generated disinformation. Therefore, there is a strong need for continuous innovation, and we need deeper cooperation or partnership to confront this evolving threat in as effective way as possible. And speaking about these countermeasures, they can include legal and regulatory actions, as well as some more practical actions, with which I mean like detection provided by security actors, and also collaboration on state, like national and international level. For sure, governments and policymakers have to evaluate existing laws that we have now, which are used to tackle such challenges in present time. And this includes some regulations that ensure transparency in AI technologies, safeguard data privacy, and for sure establishing accountability for platforms provider. The very good example is latest call by European Commission for platforms for big tech giants as Google, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok as well. And the Commission wants from these platforms to label AI generated content so the users are aware what are they are aware of content they are reading, they're using, that it is generated by AI. So they should be more they should work with that content in not in such a way they work with the content created by professionals, let's say some journalists and so on. On the other hand, however, there are concerns that arise over potential misuse of this legal framework, because people are afraid that it can be used masked as protective measure, but it will be, as I said, misused to influence, to limit personal freedoms. It's like there can be some oppressions, let's say, some blocking of content, like and last but not least, measures can be also provided by scientists and researchers. I mean, this could be labeled more as some psychological countermeasures, by which I mean that we could we could do some researches that explore cognitive biases, emotional manipulations impact, and also some factors influencing tendency to trust disinformation. Also, very crucial countermeasures are the development of literacy, especially the media literacy. Therefore, we need to work on it so people will be more aware of content they are in touch while using media.
Thank you very much for the introduction to the topic. Now over to you, Tomáš. You and your colleagues in Gerulata Technologies, this is your area, right? You are working with the AI and you are working on tackling disinformation as a company. So from a practitioner perspective, what would be your input on what just Lajoš, Jerguš just described and on his paper, and overly on the topic, of course?
Well, I think that we are living in a time when AI is used to create large numbers of content, but from the perspective of what we do in Gerulata and how we analyze the information space, it is now clear that even to this day, the AI generated content is not so popular, it's not so relevant, it doesn't really gather that much interactions as the content that is being produced by successful and real influencers or malfluencers who are basically controlling the narrative, setting up agendas, and they are the ones who are, especially for instance in countries like Slovakia, owning the discussion in majority of cases, in majority of topics. So to me, AI still is a phenomena that didn't really emerge, that didn't really show its potential. And I still see it more in a positive than negative way. Like for instance, I think it's a very the existing tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney, they are awesome in increasing the productivity of a member of a team who might have any kind of agenda, whether it's programming or coding or creation of new content. It's helping, like it's doing miracles when it comes to time management and the production of the content itself. I do think that in near future there will be more and more AI generated content, and I personally think that there is no way we can regulate how AI will be developed in the near future. So I'm one of those people who actually thinks that thinking about regulation might be almost obsolete. And if we do regulate AI, we might become weaker in the near future, as authoritarian regimes, for instance, wouldn't apply such constraints to the technology. And I still think that in some positive way, AI can help us actually create more quality content rather than seeing it as a potential enemy or potential threat. And for instance, in Slovakia, there was recently this case where one PR company created AI-generated campaign where they actually resurrected one old actor who died many years ago, Mr. Satinsky, and they were quite successful with this campaign. And even I saw like some ethical, borders being crossed that I think that shouldn't that this case like shouldn't be followed. But it really shows that how mainstream the case of using AI has become, and I think it will be pretty clear that it will be in our lives more and more. And it's better if we adapt to the technology and be less afraid of it, because I really think that if we are using it for good, we can be eventually like overwhelmed by the good effect it can have on our information space. Like the number of people who can, for instance, be creators of good content who would be seeking help with AI just to increase their productivity, that might be a good thing. But of course, the malfluencers who are already well established, for instance, in a country like Slovakia, all they need is a bit of fantasy to create all kinds of lies, write them down, or shoot short videos, and they manage to get like lots and lots of views. So I think that at this time of history, it might be a good thing for the good guys. So let's see how this is gonna end up.
Thank you for this perspective, and you really open several topics I would like to develop further. A small input from my side. Just yesterday, I visited a bookshop, and I noticed a book there which was actually written by use of a chatbot, and illustrations were done by AIs, which are using the model for generating visuals, which was basically the whole book was created by AI, and it was pretty amazing to saw something like that in a bookstore. And indeed, as you suggested, Tomáš, AI is much broader than just information or disinformation. The big companies are already talking about some need for self-regulation and the future impacts on the market of labor and how it will transform the societies. Indeed, the genie is out of the box, and we kind of like undevelop the technology. So I believe you're right when you are saying that we have to live with the technology as it is. And I like your positive note on that we should think and spend more time actually on how we can use it to promote values, democratic values, rule of law, civil rights, etc., to help us to move forward. But back to disinformation. Jerguš, in your paper, you are mentioning several types of different AI-generated disinformation. Can you walk us through from these different types, how they work, and what kind of disinformation they are able to generate?
Okay. So I would start with deep fakes as the most popular form, like among people. I think they will know it as also my co-debater mentioned the campaign, the advertising campaign used deepfake technology, and basically it is like this technology used to transform recording of person, and it gives either visual or audio transformation. It can be used for visual or audio transformation. It can change the appearance of recorded person, or it can change recorded audio, what the person is saying. And for example, the deepfake, the good example would be, I'm thinking about good example, probably not the best, but we could see a few months ago a picture of Pope that was wearing some trendy clothes, and it appeared to be as a normal picture. Many people were scammed. Many people believed it, but it wasn't true. It was fake. It was created by the help of artificial intelligence.
No, that's fine, and it's a really good example. The picture of the Pope in a jacket, which was really viral, and I think it ran around the internet. I think it was even nominated to be first AI generated a picture which fooled the world in a way.
What is very important about deepfake, or interesting about deepfake, that I think it wasn't meant to be used for such a purpose. It started um, for transforming some video material for some campaigns, some advertising campaigns, if I'm not sure, that were like spread on the social media. Or nowadays, such videos can be some, let's say, filters. We can call it filter, that people can use, and they can act like some pop stars, or they can the recording of their voice can be similar or the same as some pop star singing their song. So this is very important to add on.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the picture wasn't really spreading any kind of information. It was just the bizarreness of the picture of the Pope being in such like a puffy jacket, which I guess was triggering. Tomáš, do you have on your mind any other examples from recent where we saw some significant piece of content which was created by artificial intelligence, being it a picture, video, sound, or a text even, which resonated with you in person or more broadly?
Well, I remember the case when people thought that our Pope is wearing a very cool white jacket, and I, for one, thought it was real. But I think it was a more of a artsy attempt to create something interesting by some guy from US, and it wasn't really a attempt to manipulate people. But yeah, people were actually falling for that false piece of information. But other than that, I don't really recall much false content being generated by AI. There's still more problematic content being created by, let's say, Photoshop or some other older technologies, like the one which was altering the nose of our current Miss President Chaputova, and her nose then looked, well, the creator of that false picture was trying to make an impression that she might be of Jewish origin, so it was pretty anti-Semitic. You can imagine that those things are still being created, but I really don't recall anything significant being created by AI in recent time. And to me, that really actually makes even like a bigger case for thinking that we are not in such a big trouble as we think. Like we might still be just scratching the top of the iceberg when it comes to this kind of technology. So I think we are maybe months, but hopefully years from the time when things will be as bad as predicted.
Yeah, that's the question that what's in the future, right? Because as any technology, from the very beginning, the impacts are not that visible or being felt, but later on they can be really transformative. But you are also right to pinpoint that very, very simple, even if disgusting lies are working usually rather well, and there is no great need in this area for great sophistication or being super realistic to convince people who already held some biases, and emotional manipulation was already done on their cognition to convince them of something. Yet, what I see as a really big issue is, and I would like to hear your opinion on that, if we are not in a way risking that we lose as a societies this shared understanding of reality. Because for some time we are discussing that we are living in an era of post-factual era, that facts doesn't matter anymore, that it's just about emotions, symbols, and messagings which are triggering some kind of reactions. But now I think with the AI, and especially as you mentioned, Jerguš, different filters you can use on your social network apps, we are somehow moving out of shared perception of reality, which now can be and is being already augmented by different applications of FI. This is going a little bit broader than just disinformation, but I would love to hear your opinion. Do you think can AI really take us out of the shared perception of reality as societies and create very specific own reality for each individual or each specific group?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that is already happening, and we don't really need AI to lose our touch with reality, because so many people have fallen to, all these closed echo chambers on digital platforms, and now we have, I wouldn't say subcultures, but like very small groups of people who have like very specific niche shared realities that are completely outside of reality. And I have this I really love this movie from, I think it's from 2015. It's called The Conference, and basically it's about reality where people start to use hallucinogens for fun, and they produce very specific realities for every user. Like every user has its own reality based on the chemical cocktail that they are ordering from this company that sells it as a kind of entertainment. And I think that in some metaphorical way, we are going still in that direction. And I'm afraid realities and society will be still more and more specific, more split, and it will take more and more effort to have social cohesion. But on the other hand, I also believe in what I call, or Frank Herbert calls it, the triumph of human spirit. And I think that we all feel somewhere deep inside that those things are not really good for us, and there will be always enough people who will be seeking reality, real relationships, real connections, and they will be able to withstand this age when technology is really playing a really hard way on the way how we react, how we perceive reality. So I think many people will fall victim to this element, and they will be in their own closed realities, and it will be difficult for them to connect with other people. But also there will be a huge other portion of population that will just know like what to do and how to remain present and be able to be in connection with other people. But it will not be digital platforms that will be enabling this. I think it's more it has something more to do with human nature and how we can interact with each other, and it's quite more complex than the technologies that humans are creating.
For me, I would like to. I would agree with Tomáš, mainly with the beginning, where he mentioned that people are influenced by echo chambers. And what I think that you asked about creating, if AI can create like own reality for people. If I'm sure, yeah. So as Tomáš said, there's it doesn't have to be let's say full influence of AI, because also as I think people are influenced in very significant way by what they see on, let's say, social networks. They create their own bubbles, but what is speaking about artificial intelligence, there are algorithms that can in some way exploit recommendation system and targeting features on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So AI will help, let's say, in quotation marks, help people to get what they like. So they will somehow create their own reality. If you understand what I mean, I'm not sure if I'm saying that clearly.
Yes, I believe I get your point, and actually it made me ask about something else but related. Um, uh, how do you see options to use different kind of technologies, maybe also based on applications of AI, to actually counter all this? In a sense, we can speak about detection of AI generated content, AI applications for scrolling through data, or applications like you are developing in Gerulata technologies, Tomáš. So what are your ideas about how can actually be technology used to counterweight different technologies and their misuse or exploitation to more nefarious goals?
Well, I still think, for instance, that there will be ways to help, let's say, digital platforms to withstand the influx of content generated by AI. And there would be a way to watermark or flag content that is being generated by AI and it's not coming from users who are known or have a reputation, that if they produce content, they are real people who are working with, let's say, the old ways of producing content. So I think there's a way to maybe create a sort of a system where digital platforms would be able to say, like, do you want to have the real experience, or do you want this experience with digital platforms having enhanced by AI generated content? Like you, the user might be able to choose like what kind of experience you want to have when engaging with digital platforms. So that might be a thing of the near future, but who knows? Like the digital platforms don't really communicate, or I'm not aware about them communicating that what are their ideas or maybe future policies on how to deal with this influx of artificial content or AI generated content. So I think we will see like what's gonna be happening only in the near future when the number of AI generated content will arise. But for instance, I see this phenomena recently that many small businesses, firms, many small producers are actually using, for instance, Midjourney to generate nicer pictures when they are, for instance, trying to attract their customers to buy books or other products. And it's quite obvious they were using Midjourney. Like everyone who is quite aware of how Midjourney works and what kind of content it can produce for the user, you literally know in seconds that you are facing an AI generated content. But in my opinion, it doesn't really mean any harm, or it's just a next step in how people are producing content for marketing. So there might be even a broad discussion like what kind of content should be then labeled and what kind of alerts should be the users receiving, because so much of the content out there will be just neutral. It wouldn't be harmful. It wouldn't produce any kind of deception that might be harm to society or the user. So there, I think there's going to be a whole lot of new things that will have to be invented before we will know how to actually approach them, regulate them, and what will be the final form of how we are dealing with this phenomena in terms of regulation.
Jerguš?
For me, I would say I would agree. I want to add, I'm not from technological field, so I can talk about like some counter-measuring technologies, but what I can say, what I can add, is maybe what I get in touch in university, because there are concerns from professors are concerned that students will use AI to generate and to create final works like or essays and other papers. So as we know, for example, from United States, professors at universities are using some detecting programs, some technological tools, but in our geographical, in our region, it is not that popular yet, but they are working on it. But still, what I think the very important thing is that we should implement it, or we should make AI content as market as acceptable way. Like I will give example. Professor can say, okay, students, you can use AI to help you with creating some paperwork, creating some essay, but please be honest. Put like as a source, I used, or like some proclamation, I used AI to help me with this text. So it will be easier for everyone to detect. So it's to detect the content. It's it's based on human honesty, which is quite difficult to get from people.
For me, what's really interesting about what you just said is that we have to realize that AI run tools are just tools, and it really depends on us how we use it. And it's probably not the best idea to simply ban it, to banish it, or to regulate it strictly, as we haven't, for example, regulated or banned calculators for students to do their math. Yes, on some level, it's certainly good to use your own brain, but on some levels, why not to use really useful tool to get to be able to spend your time and your focus where your brain can really add additional value, and you don't really and elsewhere when you can use the tool, let's use the tool. And here I'm really in favor of what you both said, that it's super important to think hard how we can apply these new tools critically, but also creatively, to create greater good than just thinking about terms of regulation and how to limit the technology, as we I guess all know from historical examples that any regulations are catching technological improvement by its tail, and it's always coming with some kind of delay, and technological development in general are super hard to be deregulated. Okay, gentlemen, we are anyway almost of end of our time. All right, so let me thank you both very much for this discussion. It's not that often that we actually go in such positive way and looking rather for opportunities than threats in our podcast. So I'm very happy that we made this a positive U-turn on this topic, because that's I believe mindset we need for the future, which is uncertain, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that we are supposed to look at the new technologies such AI as threats or risks only. So, gentlemen, thank you very much one more time, and also thank our listeners to staying with us till this moment.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.